was born and raised in the US on the East Coast to a Jewish American father and an Israeli mother. Tantra I got exposed to through my partner actually. Success is, in my opinion, really defined by determination. Because you are going to fail many times. The question is, what do you do when you fail?
Naomi Slater from divinecouples.com is an experienced intimacy and relationship coach, yoga teacher, and bioenergy therapist. She is the creator of the 3-month online course Awaken Your Desire that helps women reclaim their wild and powerful divine feminine through yoni egg practices, emotional alchemy, meditation, and psychoanalytic tools. Naomi is the host of the Divine Couples podcast, where she explores conscious sexuality through monologues and guest interviews. She holds an MA in conflict management and resolution and a BA in psychology and studied esoteric practices, treatments, and philosophies with various gurus worldwide. Naomi's passion is helping women and couples heal their relationships and reclaim their power, pleasure, and passion. Let's hear Naomi's journey to success. Hi Naomi, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Can you tell us about yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. I was born and raised in the US on the East Coast to a Jewish American father and an Israeli mother. And eventually moved to Israel when I was 23 years old, lived in Israel for 16 years of my life actually, 16 years. And eventually made my way back to the US, but I was a yoga teacher for many, many years. That was a big part of what I did. And I was also working in NGOs doing peace work. I was always teaching yoga, and Tantra I got exposed to through my partner actually. It was after our second child, and we felt like our intimacy was not so great, and our communication was not so good, and he essentially started practicing Tantra on his own. And I eventually decided to join him, although in the beginning I was resisting. I didn't really want to. I didn't want to change, and I didn't want more expectations of me in bed. But eventually I realized that something needed to change in our relationship if we were both going to be happy. So I started my own practices and eventually became a teacher of Tantra through our own personal transformation.
Such an important topic, and thank you for sharing this with us and with the world. But a lot of people are not familiar with this topic or maybe shy about this. Can you tell us more about what motivates you through your experiences on a daily basis?
Yeah, so what really keeps me motivated is seeing the results in the couples and in the women that I work with. Seeing how they went from maybe being in a very conflicted relationship with very little intimacy to really, really turning on and activating their energy and improving their communication and learning how to be intimate in a way that feels good to each other. So for me, it's really about seeing the changes that I see in the couples and of course in the women that I work with. So of course I work with women that are not in relationship also. And it's seeing their own personal transformation. So you don't need to be in partnership to experience these transformations. It's work that you can do on your own. Some people are surprised by that. You know, if it's sexually related, then don't you have to have a partner to work on it? And the answer is no. So there's a lot of self-practice that you do, part of which is with the yoni egg, but there's also a lot of emotional work that you can do on your own. And of course that affects your sexual energy or life force energy, which are synonymous. They're one and the same.
Which I personally witnesses Naomi's transformational in her courses, and I saw women transformed completely, even changing their careers, I would say. Can you please tell us a little bit more about the yoni egg and how it affects our body?
Yeah, so the yoni egg is an ancient practice from China, comes from the Tao, and it's a pure nephrite jade egg that's used to do different exercises, vaginal exercises. What's different about it is that it has both physical, mental, and spiritual benefits. So it's not just like doing Kegel exercises, it's not just physical. And I was introduced to this practice actually again through my husband. He seems to know how to guide me into my destiny. That's why we're together. But he actually bought me my first yoni egg, and when I received it, I was very upset with him. I pretty much told him to shove it, and he can practice first, which of course he can, and then I'll give it a try. I was very annoyed because I felt like he was trying to push it onto me, and it just, it triggered me.
Yeah.
But it showed me that I really needed to do this practice. It took me a little while to get there. I put it in a dresser drawer for about 6 months. And then eventually I realized that my pelvic floor after my third birth was not in good shape. And I was both feeling that my pelvic floor was very weak. I felt like I was really lacking in energy. I felt like I had a bit of incontinence. And my orgasms were far less powerful than they were before. I could really feel a difference in the quality of my orgasm after my third birth. So I knew that I needed to do something, and I decided to start practicing with the egg that he had gotten me. And very quickly I learned of all of the amazing benefits of using this egg, one of which of course is tightening the pelvic floor, but also I became much, much juicier and more turned on, and I just felt my energy more. I really felt that this tool, and it's not the egg itself, it's really a tool to help you awaken your energy. I really understood how this tool can help me start to channel my energy.
So I would say you had a lot of challenges through your experience. Can you maybe describe one challenge that you had to overcome in order to get to this point where you are today?
Well, I guess one challenge which was very difficult to overcome, it's quite a personal challenge, was that I was suffering from chronic candida or yeast infections. And, it seemed like I'm studying to be a Tantra teacher, but at the same time I'm suffering from issues in my vagina.
So it didn't stop you in going into the Tantra teachings?
No, it's actually what pushed me further in, because what I realized is that I have to heal myself, and I have to figure out how to do that. And part of it was Tantra, part of it was boundaries, part of it was diet, there was a lot of stuff there that I needed to kind of uncover in order to heal myself. Tantra was definitely a major part of it, especially when I started to heal and I was able to practice more. When I got to the point where I was starting to heal, I realized that I had created a disconnect between myself and my yoni, because I had been suffering for so long from chronic candida. And women suffer from lots of different things. It can be pain in sex, it can be UTIs. There's no shortage of things that women suffer from. So when I started to heal, I needed a tool to help me reconnect to my body, to help me kind of reincorporate and love that part of my body again, because I was very angry at that part of my body for a long time. And so Tantra was really important to help me reconnect to myself and to reawaken my energy, which had been asleep for a while because of the issues that I was suffering from.
And I'm glad you did, because now a lot of people, women, can benefit from your teachings.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you define success?
Success is, in my opinion, really defined by determination. We all have this kind of, or at least I did, have this fear of failure for a very long time. Like if I tried to tried to really bring my dreams into fruition, that I would fail and then I would be finished. And over time what I realized is you're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot of times. It's just a matter of if you have the ability to pick yourself back up and say, okay, it's not that I'm a failure, it's that this strategy failed. So I need to rethink my strategy and do things a bit differently and maybe analyze my market a bit better, or change the course a bit, or, it's not about, am I going to fail? Because you are going to fail many times. The question is, what do you do when you fail? Do you kind of feel defeated and finished, and I'm not going to do this anymore? Or do you say, okay, I need to think about this a bit more deeply. I need to maybe, reevaluate my strategy and do things in a different way. So for me, it's that realization, that knowing that I'm going to fail many times, but that I'm not going to give up, that I'm determined to succeed. That's what success is to me.
Thank you. And people who really want to be successful, but too scared to try, what would you say to those people?
I think the scariest thing for me is having lived my life without trying. I think that's way scarier than all of the little failures that I'm going to experience along the way. And that I have experienced. Of course, I've also experienced big success, but you can't experience success without failure. So it's asking yourself the question, do you want to live your entire life without even trying to make your dreams come true?
What skills do you think that people need in order to be successful? Is there a set of skills comes with the success?
I think first of all, it's developing a routine and having a plan. So the plan doesn't have to be, the whole next year planned out. It can be a monthly plan, or it can be a plan that you wake up in the morning and you write down exactly what it is you want to accomplish in that day. But it's having a plan and having a routine. And for some people that might be harder, as an independent. It might be easier when you're kind of in some sort of a framework, but it's working for yourself as though you were working for someone else. So I had this perception that I could only work at the speed at which I work, or the effectiveness at which I work, if I'm working for somebody else. This was kind of a limiting belief that I had. And I decided that that's not true. That I can be very effective when I'm working on my own, for myself, with myself, and I proved myself right. So there are lots of different skills that you need if you want to be successful, but I think one of the most important ones is having a plan and sticking to some sort of a routine where you know that you're getting stuff done, and when you get stuff done, you can kind of check it off and feel a sense of accomplishment. And it's also not taking on too many tasks at once. So it's knowing how to prioritize the things that you must get done, and knowing that the more that you do, even though it seems small and minuscule, there are a lot of little things that you have to do when you start a business, but knowing that when you do those small little things, you're getting yourself closer to the bigger things. So it's not getting frustrated by all of the small tasks that you have to get done, but kind of seeing the bigger picture and realizing that all of these small tasks will add up.
Speaking about going on your own, what gave you this power, this strength to go on your own, to go out, not working for anybody else, just go on your own business?
Well, I think part of it, what really motivated me to go out on my own was there were a number of things that essentially pushed me into it. But it was an overwhelming feeling that I need to be my own boss. I need to be in control of my own schedule, especially having 3 kids that I'm raising. And there was also this burning fire inside of me that knew that this is my destiny, and this is knowledge that I have to share. Because of my own personal transformation. I've been doing this work with myself for about 17 years. So I have a tremendous amount of experience, and I've really, I've gotten to the point where this knowledge isn't new for me. I'm constantly learning new things, but I felt like I've reached a point where, okay, it's time now. Because there was a long period of my life where I had some of this knowledge, but I was doing other things. I was kind of keeping it to myself in many ways and just enjoying it for myself. But I got to this breaking point where I realized that it's now or never, that I have nothing to lose at this point. Kind of a feeling of maturity that it's time for me to share this, that I'm ready to be the leader that I feel like I am. There are always going to be fears. The question is, who is going to win that battle? Is it going to be the fears, all of the thoughts that we have in our head that are telling us no, 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 no? Or is it going to be something deeper, from the soul that's saying, you need to do this? So ask yourself the question, who is going to win? Because the fears are always going to be there. Is it going to be the fears that are going to win? Or is it going to be that deep fire place inside of your soul that knows that this is something that you need to do in this lifetime?
Can you please tell us about where Naomi is heading?
Good question. I ask myself that every day.
Good.
Yeah. Where am I going? What am I doing?
I'm challenging you.
Yeah. Well, I think the past 3 years I've been very focused on doing courses for women. And I've been doing a lot of private work with couples. Where I'm heading is developing a course for couples. Both an internet course, but what I feel is really pressing is doing couples for retreats. Probably in Costa Rica. We're kind of working on developing that and creating a foundation for that. But we want to bring couples to in-person retreats that will last for between 5 to 7 days. I'm not really quite sure yet, but something that will allow for couples to go through this intense process so that they can go home and they have tools to work on their intimacy with.
With the goals, and I really, with all my heart, support you with your goals. And I would love to hear more about your courses, what you have to people, what suggestions do you have to people that listening to our video right now?
Yeah, so my main course is called Awaken Your Desire. It's a 3-month course for women. Anyone in a female body can join the course. There's lots of yoni practices in the course. There's communication, there's work on boundaries, on touch, breath, movement, moving the energy, how to channel the energy. There's breath work. There's a lot in there. It's a very, very deep course.
How can we actually hear more about your courses and how we can get in touch with you?
So there are a couple ways. You can go onto my website, which is divinecouples.com.
All the links will be under this video. You can click on them.
Yeah. You can also see my upcoming course on my website, which is actually launching on March 23rd. So it's pretty soon. If you're interested in joining that, it's all online, so you can join from anywhere in the world. And we already have an amazing group of women, so if you are interested in going through this process, you can be single, married, it doesn't matter. It's really for you. You can also listen to my podcast, which is called Divine Couples. There's a lot of free content there. You can kind of get a better feel for some of the information that I teach, and I also interview people, so you can listen to my podcast. Yeah. Those are good ways. Instagram account, divine.couples. So you can get to me through all of those avenues.
Thank you so much for all the information. It was a pleasure sitting with you, interviewing you, and hearing your wisdom that you bring into the world. And please continue with your such a pure work.
Thank you so much,
to
Margarita.
spread your beautiful vibes around.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to interview me.